everyone. Thank you for joining in. We'll just give 2 more minutes for more people to join in and then start. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining in today's webinar on form layouts. This is part one of the form layout series. My name is Ansel Gomes, and I'm part of the support team. So you might have come across my name when reaching out for help with cases or issues. In this session, we'll explore form layouts in workbooks, a powerful feature that controls how information is displayed on records. As you know, we host webinars every other Wednesday at 4 p.m. UK time. On the screen, you'll see topics we've covered recently and what's coming up next. If you'd like to explore these topics in more depth, we also run a 2-day training course for system admins and reporting. And for more information, you can reach out to your account manager or email us at training@workbooks.com. So here's what we'll cover in today's session. We'll start with a quick overview of what a form layout is and where you can find them within workbooks. Then we'll look at the key components of a form layout. The bulk of the session will be a live demo. I'll show you how to copy an existing form layout to create a new one, how to create and edit sections, use section cards, show or hide fields, and make fields required or read only. This session is being recorded, so don't worry if you miss anything. The recording will be available later. So, what are form layouts? A form layout controls how a record appears to users. In workbooks, every record is displayed through a form layout, so it decides the structure, what users see first, and the overall presentation of the record. It defines which fields are shown, which are hidden, and how sections and tabs are organized. This makes it easier for users to view and work with the information on a record. Form layouts also allow you to organize information logically, so you can group fields within sections, create subsections, and arrange tabs to match the way your teams work. Workbooks also supports multiple layouts for the same record type. This means a single record type can have more than one layout, allowing different teams to see layouts tailored to their needs without affecting the standard layout used by others. For example, for a customer order, sales might want to see deal details and client information, while the finance team would want to focus on just billing and accounting fields. Another example would be an organization record, where marketing might want to focus on profiling and email preferences, while the customer support team might want to just focus on product details and contract dates. So where can you find form layouts? So as mentioned earlier, every record type has its own form layout. You can find them by going to Start, Config, Customization, Record Types, and Form Layouts. So in this screenshot here, we're looking at the organization record form layout. You can see that this record type currently has 7 form layouts. And by default, every record has a standard layout. When creating a new form layout, it is best to start copying an existing standard layout. This way you bring over existing sections and fields. Then you can either add, hide, or arrange sections and fields to really customize the layout exactly the way you want. You might also notice that in this screenshot that these layouts are shared with different teams. So this allows you to control which fields or sections each team can see and use, making the form layout relevant and tailored to meet their needs. Next, let's take a high-level overview at what a form layout consists of. So at a basic level, the form layout is made up of the form, which is then made up of columns and sections. Sections can even have subsections, and you can choose whether these sections are collapsible or not. Inside these sections and columns, you can have fields. You'll also typically see a tabs at the top of the form layout to help organize information. So when I explain form layouts, I like to use the Russian doll analogy. So think of it like this. A form layout contains the form itself, and then within that you have columns. Columns can contain fields as well as sections, and then sections can even have sections within them, just like nested dolls. We'll dive into this in a bit more detail on the next slide so you can see how this all fits together. I also want to mention that Workbooks does include different record types, but for today's demo and explanation, I'll be using the person record to keep things clear and consistent. So here we're looking at the person record for Alan Whitehead. So right now you can see that the entire form is highlighted with a black border. Next, notice that the dotted black border, now this shows the form itself, while the solid black border highlights the 2 columns within the form. Now, the blue border shows column 1, and the green border shows column 2. Finally, within column 2, you see a purple solid line, and this highlights the employer detail section. So as you can see, there are subsections within columns, columns within the form. This is exactly what I meant by the Russian doll analogy. Everything is nested and each layer builds on the one above it. So let me now jump into Workbooks to give you a live demo. For those who've joined our webinars before, you might recognize a demo environment. I want to mention that I'm logged in as a system admin and thus have full access to the demo environment. So let's head back to the person record we were looking at earlier. So it was Alan Whitehead. Just going to look for him really quick. So that's our, just going to close it and reopen it. So that's our person record, Alan Whitehead. So if you click at the view button in the top right corner, you'll see that all form layouts that have been set up for the people record. So in this case, there are 2 form layouts available. So person card view B2B and person card view B2C. Now, because I'm logged in as a system admin, I have access to both layouts and I can easily switch between the 2. So right now I'm viewing the person card view B2B. And you can see within this layout, I have different sections. So the first section is the person detail section, and then it's the employer section. I also have the main contact detail section, marketing engagement preferences, the profiling section, which has the biography and the hobbies for this person record, and then finally a section for product interests. If I switch the layout to person card view B2C, uh, you can see that they are similar sections. However, you'll notice that there is a collapsible section called Case Portal on B2C layout, which isn't present on the B2B layout. So this just shows how different layouts can be tailored for different purposes. For now, I'm just going to switch back to person layout B2B, and then we can continue with our demo. All right. So for this session, we're going to create a new person form layout specifically for customer success managers or CSMs. So this layout will help them manage their key contacts at each client. So the main people they work, in with during onboarding and beyond. So by creating a by creating a dedicated layout, we can make sure CSM see exactly the information they need without any clutter from fields they don't want to use, like marketing preferences or segmentation data. This makes it easier for them to track training, review recent interactions, understand goals, and provide proactive support for each key contact. So in this demo, I'll show you how to copy an existing standard person layout to create this new customer success layout. Copying the standard layout is a great starting point because it gives you sections and fields already in place. And from there, we can edit sections, create new ones, use section cards, show or hide fields, make some fields required or read only, really tailoring the layout specifically for the needs of the CSM. So on Alan Whitehead's person record, which is currently using person card view B2B, you'll see that some sections will be very useful for the customer success layout, while the others we don't need. So we'll keep the details section, which includes his name, email, phone, essential details for CSMs to contact him. The employer details and the main contact details, including his address here, are important to keep as well. Within the profiling section, which includes biographies, hobbies, interests, we'll keep that as well. So this helps CSMs understand this person better and build strong relationships. We'll also keep the product interest section as it serves as a discussion point for CSMs. You'll also notice that there is an overview tab here, so which is expanded as a panel to the right of the record. And this shows tasks such as phone calls that are due in a couple of hours. So I'll keep this overview tab too, as it is useful for CSMs to track interactions and log activities. On the other hand, there are some sections that aren't relevant to customer success. So fields like campaign and source are needed, so we'll hide them. Also, sections like marketing engagement and preferences sections is more suited to the marketing team, so we'll hide that entirely. So to start, let's copy the form layout. To do that, I'm going to go to Start, Config, Customization, Record Types, and People. And then within form layouts, I'm going to copy the person card view to be. So I'm just going to wait for this to open. Yeah, and then once it's open, all you got to do to copy a form layout is just click on the copy button. Yeah, so that's open now. So the first thing we're going to do is just going to rename this layout to customer success layout and also give it a short description. So I'll just say for CSM use. And I won't publish it yet because we still have some changes to do before we set the form layout to live. So within form style, if I expand on this drop down, you'll see that we have three options, and it's currently set to panel on the right, which is what we're choosing to keep on form layout. This is where the specific tab is on the right. So it's the overview tab, just like in the copy. But you can see that there are other sections, other options you can choose as well. So within specific tab, we're just going to keep the overview tab like we had on Alan Whitehead's person record here. I'll leave the other settings as they are for now, but this is a good place for you to experiment and see what works best for you and your users. And I'm just going to press save. And then I'm quickly going to go to the sharing tab and just add my CSM group that I created earlier. Save. And then hit publish. And now if I close and reopen Alan Whitehead's person record for these changes to take place, and then click on the view button at the top right hand corner, you should see that the new customer success layout has been created and we are on it now. Now we're going to start by removing some sections. So as I mentioned earlier, we do not need the marketing preferences and segmentation sections for this customer layout. So I'll start by removing that. And to do that, you will need to go to the new layout that we've created and then go to the sections tab. And all I'm going to do is look for that section. So it's marketing preferences, and I'm just going to unshow it and save and close. And I'll do the same for preferences, unshow it and save and close. Save it. I'm going to close and reopen Alan's person record for the changes to take effect. And you can see now those two sections are gone. Next, we'll remove some couple of fields within a section. So in the profile section, we saw that there are campaign and source fields, which we do not need for this customer success layout. So I'll show you how to remove those now. Again, you go back to the layout you created and look for that field. So you will notice that there isn't like an inbuilt filter button to look for the fields. So in that case, what I do is I just Control F and then find those fields quickly. So we're looking for campaign, which is just here. And I'm going to click untick unshow, save and close. So you'll notice that as soon as I do that, this field moves to the bottom of the list and is grayed out, and that's because it's no longer visible on this form layout. So I'll do the same for the source field. Click unshow, save and close. And then I'm going to save this layout. So close Alan's person record and reopen it again. Okay. Now when I open the profile section, those two fields are gone. And that's how you unshow or remove fields. Now that we've removed sections and fields that we don't need, let's move on to adding new sections and subsections and really customize this layout for our CSMs. I'll start by adding a section called training information. So in this section, we'll have two checkboxes: system admin training and reporting training, as well as fields for trainer name and week of attendance. So for this demo, I'll make the week of attendance field mandatory. And the reason here is simple. So at Workbooks, we offer system admin and reporting training as the basic level of CRM knowledge. So this equips key contacts with the skills they need to use Workbooks effectively. So most of the key contacts that our CSMs will interact with will be system admin. So it's very important for CSMs to know whether these individuals will have completed their mandatory training, or at least know when it's scheduled for. So by making this week of attendance field mandatory ensures that the CSMs always have this critical information. I will also make this section collapsible, so it will save space on form layout. I also want to mention that to save time during this webinar, I've already created these fields in advance. But if you'd like a refresher on how to create basic fields, my colleague recently did a webinar 4 weeks ago covering that, so I recommend you checking that out. So to add a new section, you will have to go to the Sections tab and then simply click on Add New Section. And I am happy to keep the number of columns as 1, but I'm just going to quickly give the section a name. So I'll give it the name Training Information. Parent section, I want the section to stand on its own, so the parent will be on the form. I'm also happy for it to appear at the end of the layout, so its position will be the last. And I'm going to check title and border. So this will give us the option to make this section collapsible. So if I expand the options drop down, you can see there are 4 options that are given to you. So show as card, not collapsible, collapsible initially hidden, and collapsible initially shown. So for this section in particular, I'm just going to have collapsible initially hidden and give the title the same as the section name. And yeah, and then just save and close. And I'm just going to quickly save the form layout as well. Now that we have a section created, the next step is to add fields within the section. So to do that, you will need to go to the Fields tab. And again, you cannot, there's no inbuilt filter a button to find the field, so I'll have to Control F it to quickly locate it. So I'm going to start off by adding my system admin training checkbox fields first. So I'll just make it show. So the parent section would be the section we just created. Its position would be first. And save and close it. And then I want to show my reporting checkbox, which is there. My parent section is training information, and its position will be after system admin training. And save and close. Then I'm going to look for trainer name, show it. The parent section would be training information. Its position will be after reporting training attended, save and close. And then finally, my week of attendance field. Make it show. The parent section would be training information, and its position will be after trainer name. But now I'm going to set this field as required and save and close. I'm going to save this form layout. Okay, and now I'm just going to close and reopen Alan Whitehead's person record for the changes to take effect. Yeah, so you can see that a new section is created and it has all the fields I just added a minute ago. So this week of attendance field is mandatory, and you can see that there is a green bar here which shows that this is a mandatory field and data needs to be added to this field. So if I try to save his person record without adding any data, you can see that, oops, it won't let you save the record. So I'm just gonna enter a date there and then save it. And now you can see that this the form layout of the record is successfully saved. And also because we set this section to be collapsible, the training information section is collapsed by default, and this really keeps the layout clean and tidy while letting CSMs expand it when they need to see the training details. Now, let's move on to creating subsections. So I will create a new section, another new section called Customer Overview. So this section will give CSMs an overview of account level information for key contacts. And for this section, I will have two key fields, so account manager and account tier. So account tier, I will make it just read only because I don't want my CSMs to be able to edit this field. So to do that, we again go to our form layout, sections, add new section. So it'll be customer overview. Keep the number of columns as 1. Its parent section, I want it to stand on its own. So it'll be on the form, and it'll be after our training information section. Check title and border. And again, I'm going to make this section collapsible and give the section, give the title the same as the section name, and save and close. And then now that I've created my section, I'm going to go and add my two fields. So account manager is the first one. Set it to show. The parent section will be customer overview. Its position will be first, and then save and close. And then the second field I want to add, and this will be just read only. Again, set it to show. Its parent section will be customer overview. Position will be after account manager, and it's just a read only field. Save and close. And save this layout. Now within the customer overview section, I want to add a subsection. And to do that, again, we'll start off by just going to sections and adding a new section. And I'll call this goals and objectives. And now, because this is a subsection and I want it to sit within a section, so its parent section will be customer overview. And its position will be after the account tier field I added. And then I'm going to check border and title. Again, this section, I want it to be collapsed. And then give the title the same name as the section name, and save and close. Now that we have our subsection created, I do want to add fields within it. So I'm going to look for the two fields. So I have two fields called current goals for CRM usage, so which will capture what the contact is aiming to achieve, and another field called adoption notes and challenges, which tracks any blockers or challenges this contact is facing. So I'm just going to look for that. So the first one we're going to look for is current goals and goals for usage. Set to show, and then its parent section will be goals and objectives. It'll be first within this subsection. Save and close. And then the other one was adoption notes and challenges. Set to show, its parent section is goals and objectives after current goals for usage. Save and close, and save my layout. Then I'm gonna close Alan's person record and reopen it again. So yeah, so that's my new section created under training information. It is collapsed because that's what we told it to do. And within this section, there is an account manager field which you can add information, but there's also an account tier field which is just read only. So this comes from the organization, the employer record. So it comes from Atlantic Service. And then within this section, there is a subsection that we created called goals and objectives, which is collapsed. And within that subsection, we have two fields. Yeah, so that's it on creating fields, sections, and then subsections. Finally, I want to talk about displaying sections as card. So if we look at Alan Whitehead's person record, so the first section here, just under person details, you'll notice that before I click on the edit icon, there are a few pieces of information that are already visible, like assigned to, email, job role, phone number, and that's because these fields are displayed in a card style view. When I click on the pencil icon, the full section expands and you can see all fields within that section. Displaying fields as a card is useful because it allows you to highlight key information without showing the entire section, which just keeps the layout clean and easy to scan. So setting up a card view involves two main things: setting up the card section and then adding fields to the card section. So let me show you how this person details card was set up. So again, I'm just going to go back to my layout, go to sections, and then look for the person details section. So here, just under options, you will see that this section is set up to be shown as a card. And then under card details, just under title name, you'll see that it's the person name, and hence why we see Alan Whitehead's name on the top of the section. There are also other settings that allow you to set image and the image's height, behavior, etc. And that's it. And then you save it. And now that we've set uh, the section, we will need to choose which fields to add, which fields to show as, which field to show in the card view. So you would have noticed that assigned to is set to show in the card view, and that's because we've told it to be shown with label within the card view section. And if I expand this, you will see that quite a few options. So show with label displays the value. So it'll be assigned to name along with the label. Show value displays just the value without the label. Exclude value. So this means that the field won't appear in the card when the section is collapsed. It'll only appear when the section is fully expanded. And that's it. That's how you set up a card view to highlight key fields while keeping the layout tidy. We've now reached the end of our demo, but before we move on, I want to quickly cover something about deleting form layouts. So we strongly recommend not deleting form layouts. That's because if a layout is accidentally deleted, it's permanently removed from your database and it doesn't appear in deleted items. So you cannot recover it in the usual way. So it's always best to be very cautious when deleting layouts. But say if a layout is deleted by mistake, there is still a possible workaround. So you can log in into the beta environment of your database. So beta is a weekly refreshed copy of your main database that lets you safely test or review config changes without affecting your live system. Now, since beta is usually a week behind your main database, there is still a chance that the deleted layout will still exist there. So you can use it as a reference to rebuild it in your main database. Yeah, it's also worth noting that beta is built every Sunday, so you generally have up to a week to access and review anything that may have been deleted before it refreshes. Okay, now let's just take a moment to recap what we've covered so far. So starting with what form layouts are, form layouts control how information is displayed on your records. They allow you to organize data into columns, sections, subsections, fields, and tabs, helping structure information. Different teams such as sales, marketing, support, and customer success all work with the same records, but often need visibility of different types of information. So having multiple layouts allows you to tailor what each team sees, helping work more efficiently and focus on the information most relevant to their role. During the demo, we explored how to copy an existing form layout rather than building one from scratch. So this helps save time and keeps consistency while allowing you to customize layouts for specific teams or business processes. We demonstrated how to remove sections and add new ones, giving you control over how information is structured within a record. So we looked at creating subsections, which helps group related information together and makes the layout easier to navigate. Another feature we covered was making sections collapsible. So we showed how to make fields mandatory and read only as well. Mandatory fields help to ensure important data is captured, while read only fields protects key information from being accidentally changed. And finally, we looked at using a card display for key fields, which helps highlight information at the top of the record for quick visibility. And just before we wrap up, I do want to mention that I'll be running a part 2 of the form layout webinar on the 11th of March. So this session will help you take your form layout customization even further. So in that webinar, I'll be covering how to add information messages to your form layout. So this allows you to display helpful and relevant guidance next to your field. We'll also look at reference fields, which will allow you to display information from one record type to another. For example, you could display an organization's industry field on a person record, for example. I'll also show you how to control tab display and ordering. So this includes choosing which tabs appear on the form layout and changing the order they're displayed in. In addition to that, we'll also explore how tabs can be displayed as panels that will allow you to display the details of more than one tab at the same time, side by side. Finally, we'll go into a bit more detail around layout rules, showing how you can control layouts based on certain conditions or criteria. And that's it, really. I am open to any questions if anyone has. So I have a question from Jean. She says, can you put a mandatory field in a collapse section? And the answer is that yes, but it means that the collapse section will be expanded until a value has been entered. Mary asks, is it possible to have certain fields read only for user and editable by others, or only by having multiple form layouts where they've been marked as read only on one and not by other? These would then need to be shared with appropriate use groups, perhaps only with sysadmin. So Rachel asks, can you delete a view once it's been created? Yes, you are able to delete a form layout, but we would recommend just disabling them most of the time, as they cannot be recovered if you change your mind later. Robinita asked, is this PowerPoint available? Yes, the recording will be available later. Yeah, and that's all the questions I have. Is there any more? There's another question from Robinita. is there a manual? So we do have KB pages that are quite in detail on the form layout. So yeah, do check out KB. Right. So as there are no more questions, our next webinar is on creating custom views. That's scheduled for the 25th of February. So we hope to see you all on that one. If you still have questions or would like help regarding the areas we discussed today, please do check out our knowledge base as we have lots of information and resources on there. You can find it by clicking on the help icon within Workbooks or by going to our knowledge base directly. In addition to that, authorized support contacts can get touch with the support team via the case portal. I did also want to mention that we successfully deployed an improved version of the support portal on the 2nd of February. So from now on, the recommended way to raise cases is through the case portal. I do understand that by habit, some of you might still want to raise cases by email, and that adjusting habits takes time. So we're giving everyone a month to get used to it. But after the 2nd of March, we'll be strictly using the case portal. If a case is raised by email after that, you will be directed to submit it via the portal instead. Alternatively, you can always reach out to your account manager who will be happy to assist or point you in the right direction. Um, and finally, we do have videos on our website on the following topics displayed on the screen. You will also be able to find the recording for this along with our previous webinars using the link on the screen and then select webinar recording. And that's everything for today. Thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune in. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one in a couple of weeks. Thank you, everyone.